Welcome, everyone, to the Everything Show, episode 947. I am your host, Matrix Lord 212, and I'm with Chris. What's up, Chris?
What's going on, everyone?
So I saw the news, and you saw the news of
Yes.
Mr. Arnold Schwarzenegger and the Terminator brand. So why don't you inform the public of what we're talking about, basically?
I don't think this is going to come to a shock, or this is going to shock anybody, but they're not continuing Terminator Genesis.
Yeah.
The trilogy or the trilogy or the sequel, whatever they were planning, is not happening, and I'm assuming that they're going to go to a different direction, or go in a different direction, I should say, with Terminator.
James Cameron gets it back in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's no script written, we're in March. You don't really want to rush through it. So they'll just give over the rights in 2019 and do nothing with it. I mean, that's basically what's going to happen. They're going to hand it over to James Cameron, and he's going to have someone do a movie. Right?
Yeah,
pretty much.
I assume so. I don't think he's going to do a movie. I think he's going to give it to somebody. I think he's going to give it to another director.
Right, he'll put the money up for it. And they'll say, just, what are you going to do? Let me see. Okay. And then that's it. So, again, I'm okay. I'm happy with that because these people that were handling the Terminator franchise with the Genesis screwed it up. They really didn't know what they were doing when it came to trailers. They didn't really... I think they really didn't have heart because they kind of lost the whole concept of the Terminator movies.
I agree, yeah.
John Connors can't be the villain ever. Like ever. And when your own mother has to kill you, I mean, that's like, you lost me. Especially since you put it in the trailer. Especially since you said that was definite. So, they lost me. And it's just like, they lost me how, Arnold Schwarzenegger is a Terminator that ages, which makes no sense to me either because he's a robot. I mean, you just give him new parts, give him a new arm, give him...
Well, it was his skin that aged, which made sense because the skin is supposed to be human.
Right, but when he gets scrapped of the skin, it's, I don't know. It seemed to me like it wasn't just the skin; it was just like they tried to make it. Well,
what didn't make sense to me is how he was able to merge with the liquid metal, and I mean there was a lot of things in that movie.
And now he's not old. Now he's liquid metal. So it's
there's a lot. That movie to me. I mean, I don't want to say this. I'm not going to say that. It felt like like you said before, it just diverted from the main story. And it's like, you guys didn't even show us the rest of the story from the first timeline or from the other timeline. So, like, why would we care about another one?
See, the thing is, I did like it, though. That's the weird thing. I liked it, but I was hopeful that they would fix it and say, oh, John Connor's really in the future in prison. Then they kind of, like, used his likeness or his whatever or something, and we got to go save him now or something or whatever. Again... My problem is that a lot of people that are taking over the franchises, right? You could correct me if I'm wrong, Chris. They are fans of the original, but they all have their weird-ass logic behind it.
I agree. I don't think that's for everything, but I think a lot of things recently I would agree with that, yeah.
And, again, it gets to that famous line, wouldn't it be cool if... And then it's like, John Connor's the bad guy. No, I mean...
I feel like whether it's, I feel like they need to have somebody, production companies, basically. They need to have, or bring... Let's say you want to do a Terminator movie, right?
Right.
You bring in somebody from the outside... Or within the company, if you have it, who knows about this franchise, who knows the history of the production and the story and whatnot. You bring them in. And then if you have a director that either pitches an idea or the production company says, we have an idea for this, they go to these people and they say, do you think this would be a good idea? And then that person either says yes or no. Because I got to tell you, if I was that person and somebody pitched me the script or the production company I work for said, do you think this is a good idea? for a Terminator movie and it was the Genesis script, I would have looked at them and said, no, absolutely not. And the story that I'm thinking of too is the director of Kong Skull Island, Volt Roberts, I think is his name, Jordan Volt Roberts or something like that.
Okay.
He was pitched the idea of Kong Skull Island, and the original script it took place in 1917.
Yeah, no good.
And he was like, you know what? Why don't we do it in 73 and do a whole Vietnam War era thing?
Yes.
And they were like, oh, that's a good idea. So for Terminator Genesis, let's say the same thing happened where the production company went to the director and pitched him that idea. Now, if he thought it was a good idea, that's why it was made. But honestly, I think they should have, before they pitched it to him, they should have gone to somebody who knows the franchise, maybe James Cameron, and been like, this is our idea.
Yeah.
Do you think it's a good idea? And if he said yes, okay, fine, make the movie. But if he said no, which I think he would have, because I think that interview he gave where he said he liked the movie, I think he was playing it up a bit.
Yeah, I think that was bullshit, too.
Yeah. I think that he probably would have been like, I don't think this is a good idea. Because now you're radically changing one of the most popular movies ever made.
T2.
And Terminator as well.
Yeah.
You're changing everything, and it's like people, and then when people sit back and go, wait a minute, why are you changing that? And you go, oh, just enjoy it. How?
No.
You're stepping on the movie that I liked for so long ago. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like, that's why it didn't work. It did well in China, but it didn't work here.
So if you did another Terminator, would you have to fix that problem?
No, I would just ignore it altogether. I would say that timeline, and I would be upfront about it. If I was the director for the next one, let's say James Cameron came to me, in interviews, I would say that the Genesis timeline doesn't happen.
Right.
It's not happening.
We're
following the original timeline from Terminator 1, 2, and 3, and I would do it in the war.
Wow. I got to stop you right there. I don't like Terminator 3 at all.
Yeah, I know, but it had to happen.
No.
It had to happen.
Not like that.
No, I'm sorry. It had to happen.
Dude, let me tell you something. That's not like what I envisioned John Connor to be, like in a dog cage, drug addict.
Yeah, but you wouldn't get him back. You wouldn't get. Listen. You can't start again from Terminator 2. You can't do it. If you do that, then you're going to completely confuse people.
But here's the thing. Why not? I mean, Terminator 3 sucked.
I know. I agree. I didn't like it either.
I mean, like, you could just do without it.
I don't think you could.
You could just say it takes place after Terminator 2, and it happens, and not really show. I mean, whatever. I mean, I don't know. And just.
Yeah, but if they go from Terminator 2, that means they're going to have to show Skynet rising again. Like, I don't want to see that again. We know that it happens. We saw it in Terminator 3.
That's like saying, all right, we have to do a Superman movie, and we're going to allow Superman 3 to exist. And it's like, no. Or 4.
Well,
it's like, no.
Well, to that
they
point,
erased
though,
that already, actually.
To that point, though, they did what you wanted them to do, where they said Superman 1 and 2 exist, and look what we got.
But I never said to not have no villains in it. I never said to have the same exact villain that you did in Superman 1 and just villains. You got to progress. If you're doing a sequel, you already did the Lex Luthor thing. You did the supervillain thing. It's got to be something new. It can't be the same thing.
So what would be so different in?
If they would have did Superman Returns, it would. If you would have had Brainiac in it.
I'm not talking about that. I'm saying if you were going to do a Terminator movie from Terminator 2, how would you do it? You're going to have another Terminator come back from the past. This one's going to be the T-2000, and it can fly, and it's going to go after them.
Another issue with that is that the successful Sarah Connor Chronicles, they traveled to the future and they created another.
Well, that's not canon into the movies.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing about the canon thing. Until James Cameron gets the rights, we have no idea what's going to be canon.
Well, that's true, yeah.
Because just like with Star Wars, they wipe shit out. Mara Jade doesn't exist, all this stuff, but Thrawn is still here. So James Cameron could say 1 and 2, no Salvation, no 3, or whatever, or Sarah Chronicles change the timeline or whatever. Which I'm trying to think now. Did Sarah Chronicles take place after Terminator 2?
Yes.
So then that should count.
But it's not canon, though. From what we have right now, they've said it's not canon.
Or they should.
Because we also have a comic book series, too, that's not canon as well.
To tell you the truth, I mean, I really didn't give it much thought. You know, maybe if you get back to me in a week or a couple of days.
Sure.
But I don't know. I really don't know what I would do after Terminator 2 if I had to start it from there. But again, yeah, Edward Furlong is, of course, older now, and Linda Hamilton's older now. So
honestly, I think they just need to start showing us what happens during the war.
Yeah.
Because I've been saying it for a long time. We've been in the past so much.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tired of that storyline. I'm tired.
And also, I don't like
know.
3 because they said that John Connor dies in the future.
Yeah.
And his kids take over, and I that's kind of final for me. It was always about John Connor. So with John Connor dead, I really don't care about John Jr. or whatever. That's like.
Well, that's because they messed up that timeline. That the time traveled from Terminator 1, Terminator 2, and Terminator 3. It messed up the timeline because originally Judgment Day was supposed to happen in what, 97?
Right.
And then.
So in other words, it screwed it up where he knew he still had to send his father back, but it was there an altered timeline already, right?
The way I look at it is before Terminator, the movie, there was the original timeline where there was no time travel. Judgment Day happened the way it happened. You know, the humans won in an attempt to save itself. Skynet sent that T-800 back, and they sent Kyle Reese back. That's what we see. That the timeline we're seeing is an altered timeline because they sent somebody back in time. So it's almost like a branching timeline because when you do that, now you're changing the events in the past.
So 2 in the future point of view is already an altered.
Yeah.
So now that original timeline doesn't exist, and now it's another future sending people back.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about it like that.
Sort of like Genesis was another alternate future.
Yeah, exactly. It's another branching timeline off of that because they sent somebody back further.
You get a headache too because with all the time travel going on, they knew where he was.
Yeah.
And Matt Smith's character goes to absorb him, but then I guess from that point of view, there's also in the further future of that, somebody sends a Terminator back to protect Sarah.
Yeah.
Which is even more confusing.
I don't think, and this is my thing, I don't think Terminator was ever supposed to become this complex.
Right.
With 700 timelines.
Right.
Because like you said, James Cameron could get it back and he could be like, you know what? Only 1 is canon.
Right.
And we'd all be like, what, 2 is really good.
Well, he would say 2 is canon.
Oh, yeah, of course. But
I
mean, I'm just saying he could do whatever he wants because we can talk about the rules of time travel. But the rules of time travel are what the writer wants them to be. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because we don't actually have time travel, obviously, in reality, so we can't say scientifically this is what would happen.
The only way you could fix it is if you send the Terminator back to when Sarah was a child and you wipe out both Terminators before they see it. Then the Terminator franchise is still intact from 1. And that wipes Genesis.
It would branch into another timeline.
Well,
it would be one that closely resembles the one we're used to, but...
Really? Because they wouldn't even be aware of it. Really?
They wouldn't be aware of it, but you would still have that event that someone went back and changed that past again.
But they didn't really change it because they were stopped.
Yeah, but it still happened, though. You still had somebody sent back.
Right.
So it's not the same timeline. It would just probably be a timeline that resembled the first timeline.
Wouldn't it be that they send so many people back that the fucking universe is in jeopardy of or they just keep getting altered or
well, that's
explosion?
what I was thinking.
Because you saw this whole rack.
Yeah.
With Terminators ready to go through time. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't regular Terminators.
No.
We really didn't know the overall plan because it looked like they were sending out 20 of them. So for all we know, they could have sent out a Terminator in every freaking century and like really screw shit up.
Oh yeah.
Like they could have like took over America and just we don't even have anything.
Yeah, and that would be that timeline. Skynet would be probably would have taken over the world completely.
Yeah. But then again, that would fracture time too, because let's just say you sent a Terminator back to 1776 or 1876 or 9. Like every time a Terminator arrives, they're arriving in an altered timeline already.
Yeah.
So it would be like fucked up. But like it seemed to me like they didn't give a fuck. Just let's go. Send it to this. I honestly think that's what the plan was.
It might have been.
Because like everything's John Connor, but you fucking change everything.
This is why I was so against Genesis, because it was like you already have a somewhat stable timeline. Because if you look at it, 1, 2, 3, and Salvation are actually arguably in the same timeline. Because at the beginning of Salvation, it says 2003, which is when Terminator 3, those events happened. So
Right.
that was in that timeline. And John Connor and his wife were having a child.
Right.
But when he got to that timeline, he even said, things are not the way that my mother told me. Something has changed. And that was the whole Marcus Wright thing and whatnot.
Well, what if you did a Terminator where it takes place after 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where, like in other words, it takes place after 2, but it takes place in 2017.
Sure.
Where John Connor is whatever, and nothing happens. And then the only way something could happen is that there's something that's in the past from previous Terminators that was sent back there that for whatever reason they never got to attack because some type of natural disaster happened or something. And if they were sent there, they were buried in a mountain or some crap or whatever. And that they attack, and then they realize, the Terminator, that there is no future. So their whole goal was to build a time machine again to go back even further to prevent this thing. No?
I think that'd be a bit confusing.
Well, I mean,
that kind of sounds a bit like Genesis because...
Well, no, the future is there is no Terminators now. That's the whole point, that they're in 2017, there's no planet to rule over. John Connor's like regular because it didn't come to be, but the only threat to be would be the past, meaning whatever was sent. Like, as long as a Terminator exists, they could start Skynet. Like, that's the whole point, even an arm or whatever. So, if they found something, then that could happen.
I guess that could work.
I mean, they could do a thing where they find a Terminator, and all of a sudden, the moment they find a Terminator, new reality is created in the far future to where they send them back again.
I don't think that's how it works, though.
No, I know. It's just it's kind of just when we think we know how it works.
You got to remember too. There's also like another timeline where after Terminator 2, Skynet never came to be because the alternate ending of Terminator 2 is Sarah Connor in the far future, and she's on the playground with John and his daughter.
Oh, I didn't see that alternate.
Yeah, there's an alternate ending to Terminator 2 where she's
but they never
sitting
released that though.
It's on the DVD.
Oh yeah, but it's not canon now.
It's not canon, but you can consider it another timeline.
Okay.
Because she's in the park. It's like she's older. She's like in her 60s or 70s, and you see an adult John Connor playing with these kids, and she's recording into that recorder that she has. Yeah. And she's like, it never happened. There was no Skynet. There was no Judgment Day. There are no Terminators, and it's like 2029 or something like that.
Right.
And she says John's fighting the battle, but he's a politician in this future.
Mm.
So it's like, okay, that's not canon, but it's another timeline if they consider it that.
Right.
Which I don't think matters because you wouldn't do a story from there.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could, but that'd be weird.
The only missed opportunity is I kind of miss what we would have had as Matt Smith, the villain, full-fledged movie. You know, because I don't know what they were attempting to do at the end of Terminator Genesis. Like what
I
that
had a
was all
problem
about.
with that because I liked it better in the original ones where it was like Skynet didn't have a form. You know, it didn't have a body, and that's what made it scary. Is that like you're kind of fighting something that like it can just be anything. Like it could be
Right.
anywhere in cyberspace.
Right.
That was scary. You know, that was the one thing about Terminator 3 I liked, was at the end when they're in the Fallout shelter and he's like, there is no system core. It couldn't be shut down. It was software. It was cyberspace.
Right.
This is what Skynet is. Then when I heard that, you know, oh, Matt Smith is the embodiment of Skynet, it's like, well, that just defeats the purpose.
Yeah.
Because why would Skynet build itself a body if it could risk being destroyed, and then that's it?
Right.
You know?
See, my thing is the one thing I didn't like is I liked from the original where you could travel to the past,
Mm-hmm.
but you could not, with all their technology, they could not travel to the future.
Yes. I agree 100%. Yes.
And when they changed that in the Sarah Connor Chronicles, I'm like, fuck. Because now, you know, even though I liked it, I'm like, that sucks. And then they repeated it in Genesis, and I'm like, oh, fuck. Now you just totally fucking lost me because shit's gonna get so fucked up. Like, imagine Terminators are sent to kill you. Now they're sent into the future, and it's like, what the fuck is that? It's like, you know, that's just totally.
You know what really drove me crazy was that in that same show, didn't they say like, oh, we brought the pieces of this time machine back with us, like they would embed it in their skin or something, and it was like one piece at a time.
I don't know, some shit.
And I'm like, but so what stops a Terminator from like integrating a huge gun into its chassis, putting the skin over it, and then when it goes back in the past, it just cuts the skin on its chest off, pulls out the pieces of this gun, and has like a friggin' laser gun.
Well, my thing is, overall, you gotta stop with the shit of they're constantly making new Terminator upgrades. Because what happens is you keep creating ridiculous amounts of Terminators that cannot be killed, and you need some type of fucking crazy ass shit to defeat them. It's just beyond ridiculous. So my point is, if they're in a fucking war, and I don't mean to curse, but whatever. If they're in a war, right? And if they're constantly at each other's doorsteps, right? And John Connor's on them, they're on John Connor. It's like they really don't get that much of a break. How the hell do they have time to just develop the technology for a stronger Terminator when they're constantly at war? Like, facilities would burn. Things would be destroyed. It should be that they just don't create an advanced Terminator because they don't have the time or space, or they're in a war. Like you're in a war. Say a scientist is in a lab trying to create an ultimate weapon, and if it's so bad like it was in Terminator movies, things will be shaken, things will blow up. Like, they should not have any part of the world where they're safe to be quiet and just create. That's just unrealistic. So, like, because to leave them alone, like, who would do that? And even too, the John Connor's people shouldn't be able to develop anything advanced either. Just use what you have. That's what I think, anyway.
No, I agree with you on the
Because when
John Connor
weapons
thing,
are built, there's no wars going on, right? So like World War One ends, and then all right, just in case of a war, let's build some advanced stuff, you know. But when stuff's going on, individual war, like whatever, you can't develop anything.
Well, no, we do develop a lot of stuff during war. But that's when
our thing is different.
That
thing, they're constantly. You saw what the future looked like.
Yeah,
there's no paved roads.
Yeah.
Well,
it's all been nuked. I mean,
but that's what I'm saying. Like, how could you, based on that knowledge, how could you conceive of an area where they just have time to develop an advanced Terminator machine?
Right.
You don't. So stop. My thing is that after the liquid metal thing, that's it. Then they got ridiculous with her.
I thought the liquid metal one was like the most advanced you could get, in my opinion.
And then they made her.
Because they made her, and I thought, isn't that a step backwards? Because
I don't even know. I mean, I know that it was supposed to get The Rock.
Oh god.
And then they couldn't or whatever, I guess. Because he was supposed to be a Terminator. That was a big thing.
And it's not. Let me clarify what I say for anyone who's watching who may have misunderstood what I meant. It's not the fact that she was quote unquote looked female. That's a step back. What I mean by it being a step back is they had a fully liquid metal Terminator in Terminator 2 who could regenerate from almost any damage.
Right.
This one had liquid metal as her covering, but she had a metal chassis that could be damaged.
It's weird.
So it's weird. Like, I understand she has like onboard weapons, but...
And what was this new one? This new one was like off the fucking charts.
Which one? Oh, the John Connor?
Jeez.
I don't even think he was a Terminator. I think he was legitimately something else.
I don't even know what it was.
He was like a zombie almost. It was like...
I was saying, because let me tell you something. Even though I liked it, I was so upset by what happened with the John Connor thing. I sent the movie company paragraphs of how I would fix it. And I'm like, please just fix this. I could not accept that that was John Connor.
Yeah.
I could not accept that. Like, my thing is that they tried to get him to turn, and he couldn't. So they cloned him, or they mimicked his appearance, and they had memories of him, but it wasn't him. And he's imprisoned, and that's where they should go. If they're going to go in the future, that's where they should go, is go save him. But if they go from now, this point in time, I guess that would be an alternate future. I don't know. Because she didn't even have him, or she didn't get pregnant when she was supposed to. So he might not even be born now, John Connor.
But that just messes everything up, though.
But she didn't. Like, they didn't get together. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
She did not have John Connor. They did not have sexual relations. They did not have a boyfriend, girlfriend. Nothing. He's not born now. As far as I'm concerned, there's no John Connor in this timeline.
Well, it doesn't matter anymore because they're not even
wiped.
They're not continuing, and I think this is why. I think that they James Cameron and them, they realize that this story, I'm going to use the word, is asinine.
Right.
It makes little to no sense to the timeline.
If you're going to sit at a writer's room and you start you need Advil, like you got to fucking hit. That's it. Scrap the whole fucking thing.
Oh, yeah,
because
absolutely.
You and I are talking, and we're still trying to figure out a way to fix it, and we can't.
And we're like crazy. Like, we're like a little too much with this stuff. Could you imagine the casual viewer who goes to see it and they're like, what the fuck are we watching? We've watched just
about
excuse my language.
Every time travel rendition there is. Since I've watched anything that had time travel in it, I've seen it. I've seen time after time. I've seen, everything. So I'm going to have everything mixed of all these time travel theories in my head, plus Doctor Who, plus Back to the Future, all of that, And I'm going to say, okay, what if we do this? And I still can't do it. It's too much.
This is why, like you said before, in the first Terminator, they laid it out. You can go to the past.
That's it. You can't go to the future. Cannot go to the future. You're breaking the thing. Just like they should have aliens. You have the face hugger, right?
Yes.
Don't start doing weird shit. Like, I guess in this movie, there's pods and you're going in your ear, and I don't even, you know what? I hope that doesn't piss me off. Because I got to tell you, I'm used to the alien way. But we're not going to talk about alien right now. Right now it's Terminator. I'm just, you know what? You cannot even do a reboot. You can't do the same shit either with Terminator. It's got to be a new story. It's got to be interesting. And after a while, maybe it's good to give it a break for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what the hell you would do.
Don't do a reboot. Do a sequel. Do a sequel to something. Say 1 and 2. I'd be fine if they came out and they were like, you know what, 1 and 2 are the only ones that count, and
Me
We're
too,
going off of
man. But
that.
you're saying 3 is needed? I'm gonna have to go back and watch 3 again.
If they want to continue the story with, and don't get me wrong, I don't like Terminator 3. I think
Okay.
it sucks.
Yeah.
But the reason I'm saying that you need it is because I'm pretty sure James Cameron liked that movie.
Did he?
I'm almost certain he did, but I'm not sure. He didn't
Well,
direct it.
so. I don't think.
But if they wanted to go off of that timeline,
But he
because
didn't produce it either.
he didn't produce it either, but
He
I don't
didn't
know,
even
maybe,
have the right. No, he didn't even have the rights to it.
No, he didn't. But maybe he was doing the same thing he was doing with Genesis, where he said he liked it, but he didn't. So
Dude.
if they wanted to go off of 3, I can understand that, because they actually, and the reason that I said it is because at the end of 3, that was Judgment Day. We're in the war. So I would just say, just go from there, show us the war. But
my thing is, he was fucking weak, dude. He was a fucking weak John Connor.
I know. I didn't like him or his wife.
Fucking believable. I did not believe it.
Yeah.
He'd be killed in 5 minutes.
He was definitely miscast, but I think if they did a different actor, obviously,
definitely
they could make it work.
See, I like some. See, that's the sad part. I liked some things from Genesis. I love the scene where Kyle Reese is in the thing, about to go, and he sees through the thing that Matt Smith's character just fucking got John Connor. He's like, oh shit, whatever. I fucking love that scene because that's dramatic. What the fuck are you gonna do now? Type of shit, Because now you're gonna go back, but this motherfucker is gonna send 20 Terminators after you with us because they just took over the whole future. So fuck it. In fact, technically, right? Explain this to me, right?
Hmm?
If they defeated John Connor in the future, why would they need to go to the past then? They won. They won the whole war. They took over everything. There's no need to go back at all. They could have just left that son of a bitch in the past and let him grow old and screw you.
Are you talking about Terminator 3 when they said that, or
no,
Genesis?
Genesis. Because the moment they took over John Connor, Matt Smith's character, that's it. They won. They didn't need to go back in time.
Because at that point, the story they were trying to retell was the last battle that they were talking about in Terminator 1. Because the only reason Skynet sent the Terminator back had to do with the fact that it lost. And that's what Kyle Reese says. We smashed it. We won. It tried to send something back to keep itself from being defeated.
Right.
They were trying to retell that story in Genesis.
Well, I didn't let me tell you something. When I saw that scene redone with the Japanese guy with the liquid metal, that seemed to me like Species 3 or 4, made for TV.
Yeah.
The whole thing felt like shit.
Yeah.
Like something you would watch in the 90s on Fox 5 or Channel 11, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just episodes. Poorly done. Because that was not I was oh, I hate that feeling. Because that's what I got the feeling with Species. Species got so bad that when you got to 3 and 4, you're this is War of the Worlds on Channel 11 or the shitty things.
Well, explain to me this, right?
What?
Why was it necessary to have a T-1000 in Terminator Genesis?
I don't fucking know, dude.
You want to know why? It's what you said before. The guy who made it was a fan.
Yeah.
And he said, wouldn't it be cool if the T-1000 was there, but it was in 84, and it's not when Terminator 2 happened, and he's there, and then Sarah Connor hits him with a truck? No, it's not. That's a stupid idea.
I'm sorry, Dead Slot. I have to because I have to. I please don't hate me. I apologize. But wouldn't it be cool if Dr. Octopus made a proto-clone of Peter Parker and Dr. Octopus and went in there and had spider powers and the arms accepted him and he joined Hydra? and he's superior octopus. Now,
I
again,
think that suit looks cool, to be
it
honest.
does, but here's the thing. If you have web shooters, and you have the knowledge to make the web shooters, and you have the knowledge to web swing, why do you need the arms? It's one or the other. I mean, is it like retro? Oh, I used to have arms and I'm going to do, but like, how could you web swing with that arm? I mean, maybe super strength so he can, but it's just an action figure. You just want that cool, superior octopus. And again, I'm sorry for throwing my $10 comic like that, but it wouldn't it be cool if a Terminator had molten lava and you go to touch him and your hand burns off? It's like, and they're like, yeah, and then they go to make the movie and they're like, well, wait a minute, the character cannot touch the Terminator because their hand would burn off or their body would burn off, and they can't wear gloves. So then it's like, shit. And that's exactly what happened when they were making the movie. They're like, how are we gonna beat him now? That makes sense. Oh, we backed ourselves into 20 corners. No, just stop it right there. Wouldn't it be cool? Because you get into a lot of trouble.
This is why I didn't go see the movie.
Bigger, better. It doesn't have to be bigger.
No.
Every movie, this is like Mafia. Oh my God, the finale, like what? Right? No, it doesn't have to be bigger. Just be different. You could have a well-constructed Terminator thing. You don't have to have the Terminator that flies through space or like whatever. I mean, really. So.
You know, it's funny, too, because I believe this was before that trailer came out where John Connor was revealed to be the villain. I had seen an interview on, I think it was either on another site, I think it was on YouTube, though. It was these three guys talking about Terminator, and they had this really big Terminator buff there who loves the series. He knows basically everything about it. He'd seen the script for Genesis, and at the time I didn't believe him because he said in the interview, he's like, I've read the script for Genesis, and his exact words were, I know who the villain is, and we're not going to like it. And I was like, oh, okay, sure, pal. Then the trailer came out.
Oh, dude.
I was like, holy shit. Like, he was right.
Dude, I think we did an everything show, and I think I said the F word like 20 times. Like, before we saw the movie and after. So, like, why the fuck would you put that in the trailer? Why would you ruin the fucking movie? Who does that? And then after that, the company's like, oh, they're fired. Well,
that was worse than the Doomsday thing in Batman vs. Superman's trailer.
Oh, the best was the next day when they were putting fucking Leonardo or the fucking Turtles fucking thing on him.
Oh, yeah. That was hilarious. But no, I remember that Terminator Genesis trailer, and I was like, so wait, John Connor is the Terminator? And I was like, okay, so it's not really John Connor? Like, I was where you were. I was like, so it's not really John Connor. It's a Terminator that looks like John Connor, and they're trying to screw with people, right?
Because they had they had the Terminator that looked like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and they killed John Connor in the third one in the future, or whatever. Yeah,
so I was like, okay, so that could be interesting if they're trying to fool people in the past or something. And then friggin', no, we bonded his cells with technology. I was like, wait, what? Like, what do you mean?
Right. What is this mockery you speak of?
Yeah. And then they stop him with an MRI machine, and I was like, oh, that's cool.
All right.
Wouldn't it be cool if he was a Terminator and we turned on an MRI machine?
I'm going to tell you right now, if I ever work for a movie company and we're in the writing room or Marvel Comics or something, if they have those summits and somebody goes, wouldn't it be cool? I probably would leap over the table and punch the fucker in the face. I should just do a book about it.
I'm telling you, man, it's that Jeff Goldblum line from Jurassic Park. You were so preoccupied to see if you could, you didn't stop to think if you should.
Right.
I mean...
Magneto joining the Nazis. Wow. I just keep having to say that because that's just... Wow. Marvel. Wow.
And then the best is when the stuff doesn't work, And they
Yeah.
stop and they're like, well, what happened? It's like, what happened?
Oh my God! Ghost Rider was popular for one episode, and Agents of Shield. We gave him his comic back because it was canceled, and it got canceled again. What happened? Because it sucks. It sucked the first time. It sucks the second time. It's always gonna suck, no matter what you do.
And then we always get like, we'll get those one, not the two of us, but like, I mean, in general, fans will get like a director or a writer or something that's like, well, you guys just don't like anything new. And it's like, listen, just because it's new doesn't mean it's good.
Right.
Like,
like when Captain America was a werewolf, I don't think that was thought through. I mean, I'm sure the action figure was pretty nice. I mean, it could have been a what if.
mm-hmm.
But, like, is he going to be so animalistic that he's still going to be able to throw a shield? Or is he going to bite people?
Or is he going to bite the shield?
Hey. like a dog, right? So
yeah.
somebody threw a shield, he's like whatever. Like, yeah.
He plays fetch with the Hulk.
Right.
He's like throwing the shield.
With his own shield.
Yeah.
It goes by his tail. Right.
It's like, Cap made a mess on the carpet again. But honestly, it's and I'm telling you, you have to get a graphic made so that whenever we say it, it comes up on the screen.
Wouldn't it be
because
cool?
it's the wouldn't it be cool? It's like the wouldn't it be cool era for certain franchises, like
I think that these video game companies and these comic book companies and these movies companies, they should film when they do the pitches. Because I want to see the footage in Marvel Summit where that one person. Wouldn't it be cool if the Red Skull ate Professor X's brains and became Onslaught? Because that is one of the most I've ever heard. I mean, and I've seen crazy shit in Marvel, and it keeps getting worse. So I want to meet these people. I want to meet these people because I want to see if they're freaking crazy, first of all. Like, did they get locked in a closet for 3 years? Or are they why would anybody conceive, like, just like Batman versus Superman?
Oh, yeah.
Wouldn't it be cool if Batman took the Brandon iron, like the Funk Brothers or whoever did with the wrestling, they used to Brandon the person, right? Because they were probably watching the WWF. And they're like, wouldn't it be cool if Batman did that? No, he wouldn't. Not really, no. I'm sorry.
Like, yeah, and wouldn't it be awesome if whoever Batman branded got brutally murdered in prison? No, not really.
No.
Like, the hell? Yeah. Well, wouldn't it be great if Superman threatened Batman's life? Because why not?
Your not mom's first name is Mom.
Yeah. I could just see them in the writer's room like, oh, we've made the connection that nobody else has ever made. It's like, no, nobody cares.
Like, that was a brilliant idea, right? And then when it came out, this is they were all in like this. They're like putting like the, they're watching on the internet and they're like this. Just like, oh, shit.
I saw, and this isn't new, but like I've been meaning to mention it on here. I saw a comment that it was for Godzilla versus Kong.
Right.
And they're like, how's this fight going to end? And people are like, oh, Godzilla's going to win, Kong's going to win. This one guy was like, Godzilla's going to have Kong down. He's going to have his foot on his throat, and Kong's going to go, you're letting them kill Mothra! I was like, oh, gosh.
Oh, shit. That's a good one. Oh, my God. I mean, this has been a Terminator cast, which is great. But now that you mention it, there is something else big we have to talk about. But I want to do a completely different one.
Sure.
All right. So we're going to get off here. I hope you enjoyed our Terminator coverage. So that is it. Take care. Bye for now.